How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going over some of my favorite spots in Vane in Redford. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So for our first location, a pretty simple but a pretty decent first starter base location, we have the junkyard. Here it is on the map, pretty easy to get to, and once you are here, what I like to do first is always try to find the kitchen, make sure I have everything I need to cook. I like a full kitchen like this one over here. You got your table, you have your dishwasher, your fridge, your stove. Everything you can pretty much wish for in a kitchen. Good little starter base, nothing too crazy. I would think probably a duo would be pretty good here. Solo, you'll pretty much have everything you need. Good little sized bedroom, nothing too crazy, like I said. What steals a show for me personally, you do have a vehicle here, kind of an ugly truck, you might want to change it out. But you do have garden plots here. And since these are probably, not really the easiest to make when it comes to actually getting these built, I know you can find, flowers, flower pots and all that. But these are actually really good, especially for a solo, especially if you start during the spring. Unless there's, your game settings have winter or whatever. But for a solo, you're pretty good to go. Here in this storage shed, you do have another vehicle, potentially working vehicle. I'm not sure about your game, but this one could work. In here, it's a pretty small shed, pretty relative size to the other ones you see on my other videos, but it's a pretty good little area. Convert that into whatever you want. Overall, I'd rate it about a 6 out of 10. Pretty good starting area. So for our next area is a personal favorite of mine. I was actually surprised when I saw this. Here it is on the map. And if you can guess by the fire symbol, it is the fire station. So I love making videos about fire stations in survival games because most of the time they're pretty much the same. They have a lot of supplies, a lot of room, and most of the time you can have some working vehicles here. So over here, you have a little office. Probably tear all this down, convert it. Let me close the doors real quick. Convert this whole office, free TV right here. Convert it to probably, I would say, a storage shed. But like I said, it's your choice. You have a little room over here. I like this little spot. You could probably put a door frame and a door and turn this into maybe a bedroom, maybe a little guest bedroom. This base is definitely made for solo. Would be a little bit harder, but even a trio would probably shine here. Like I said, you have some storage lockers here, nothing too crazy. You have a full washer and dryer, really good. You have a nice golden toilet. It's brown, but I'll call it golden. Over here, you do have a pretty big 2-car garage or a warehouse type setting. You can change it up, keep it as a warehouse, change it into bedrooms, completely up to you. Over here, pretty simple, not too crazy on this side. You do have a lot of field space here if you want to start planning. Trying to expand the base, your perimeter a little bit, turn it into a compound style base. Over here in the back, like I say, you do watch out, you're right near the baseball field. A lot of zombies can spawn here. But if you're more established, you're probably, you don't have to worry about that too much. Now over here, I would try to build like a staircase. You can't build actual staircases, obviously, but I would try to build up, maybe even like right here, like try to build crates and stack them and get up to the roof. Have a nice rooftop garden. Completely up to you, be creative with it. But overall, I give it about probably a 7-8 out of 10. Just be careful with the zombies. So for this next area, it's a pretty secure area in my opinion. It is down here towards the bottom of Redford. It is the construction yard. So this location, in my opinion, is probably one of the more secure ones. You're kind of away from town. You have a pretty good wooden fence all around the perimeter of this compound. I like calling it a compound just because you're pretty much secured straight away if you do choose to come here. Let me close these gates real quick. You do have 2 moving trucks, really good for space and really good for stacking furniture, attaching things to it. You do have a propane tank here, another chain link fence here. You could definitely put a fence here, maybe even steal that off. Completely up to you. Over here you do have another shed, or not a shed, I guess a warehouse type building. A lot of clutter, but a lot of things to also dismantle, get free resources off of that. Cool little vending machine here. Over here you do have your 2-car, pretty big little warehouse over here. Convert it into some living quarters if you're a bigger group, duo or trio. Solo maybe, but maybe like I said, a little over a woman for a solo. Over here you do have a secured back. You'd have another chain link fence here. Really good. Like I said, you can have this for garden space, have it for vehicle storage, completely up to you. Just be creative with it. I would probably build more of a compound style and just make it feel like home. Get some garden plots going. Your fence, like I said, all around here. Really good, depending on your game settings, whether or not zombies can break, you know, your fence, whatever. PvP, PvE, completely up to you. Another propane tank here. You have a fluid container here, which is really good for the beginning. You can store a lot of different types of fluids in there. Water, gasoline, you name it. Oh, let me jump over this fence real quick. But yeah, it's a pretty good spot. Really secure, like I said. I give it about 7, 8 out of 10. Go check it out. So for your fourth location, we do have one right here, straight in the middle of Redford. You have Mud Pond Motors. So this location, kind of like the first location, is a pretty simple one. You have a 2-car garage here, a 2-story house, all the appliances, everything you can need in there, water, food, you name it. You have a nice garage. You have a decent little driveway heading over here, a usable school bus for transporting, stacking things on it. You do have a perimeter fence all around kind of the back end of it, so you could definitely build onto that. Some working cars, and in here is my favorite. You have a lot of vehicle parts. Since it is technically an auto shop, you have tons of different parts in here. You could destroy it, dismantle, get a bunch of pieces, different resources. Here in these boxes, you have all your vehicle parts. Really great area. Back here, nothing too special. Like I said, the perimeter fence kind of ends right here, so just be careful. Put some utility cabinets all around, make sure no zombies can spawn. These vehicles might work depending on your luck on hot wiring, or just use some iron scrap to make a key. But like I said, it's a pretty simple area, but it can also be very useful for a solo, especially for a starter base. Definitely base up in this house, do whatever you want over here, maybe some garden plots. I always tend to do garden plots, but I give it about a 6, 7 out of 10. Alright, so for this next area, we have one that's pretty far out, but it is going to be one of the higher ones, more popular ones, I feel like. You do have some cattle over here. There's another one there for your ribeye cravings. Here's on the map, Champlin Farm. Pretty far out from town, but it is a pretty safe area. You have towers all over the place. You do have tons of room here. You do have a working tractor. These things are like literally like driving tanks. You have another storage warehouse over here, really great for resources. Tons of storage, like I said, if you want to store vehicles, get your gardening going. You have a nice little equipment room here. Turn that into a bedroom maybe, completely up to you. But what I would do is head over here for a surprise. Now let me open this door real quick. Okay, so yeah, in here you do have a quad ready to use. It's a pretty good spacious area, good barn. You don't have a lot of like barnyard type animal equipment in here, but you do have a pretty good space. You could definitely turn this into a bigger, probably like a duo or trio bedroom. You can even build up on top if you can find ways to get up top, make a rooftop garden, or just do it over here. Plenty of room, plenty of animals to go around, a lot of space to pretty much do whatever you want here. Kind of far out, like I said, so just be careful with that, with longer trips, but overall, probably a good 8 out of 10 just for the space by itself. Alright, and for our 6th and final location, it is another pretty simple spot. I wouldn't call it my favorite in my opinion, but it is a pretty good area. We are at the bait and tackle shop. So, like I said, it is, pretty simple. Even on there it says based out of someone's garage, but it is a good starting area. Not only because it has a simple 2-story house, it's got everything you could want inside this house. Pretty good, but you do have your pretty much a shop over there to the left. Over here you can definitely put a garden, get your compound set up, get it set up for a permanent base. But in here it is a good spot for a duo. Let me turn the light on real quick so you can see. So yeah, you do have 2 quads readily available here. So if you're a duo on a PvE or PvP server, it's a really good spot. Pretty easy to secure. Just take out these windows, board them up. Plenty of tackle spots, tackle boxes, all the fishing equipment. Get yourself set up to go fishing, be able to survive the long game. Pretty good little bathroom over here. You can kind of convert this if you want to a guest house, to a main bedroom, whatever you choose, whatever the case may be. Pretty good area. Like I said, there's plenty of garden space right here. Wall it off, do whatever you want here. Plenty of vehicle storage as well. You do have this giant field over here in the front. Pretty good, pretty simple, but really great for a duo. So as always, I give it about probably a 6, maybe a 5 out of 10. So as always, I appreciate everybody for watching. If you found anything helpful in this video, have any different comments of different locations you like, leave them in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.